business to new insane revenue levels doesn't have to be overwhelming. It's all about the right strategy, team, efficiencies, and confidence. Welcome to the Entrepreneur Evolution podcast. With over 1 million downloads, it's the go-to business podcast dedicated to business owners who want to evolve out of operating in the day-to-day and make their dreams come true. I'm your host, Annette Walter, and I'm so happy you are here. As a former banker, I have now been an entrepreneur for over 15 years and have started, grown, acquired, and sold over 20 multi-million-dollar companies to date. Together, you and I will strengthen your existing business, build your dream team and process, grow your wealth and legacy, all while surrounding you with a community of rockstar entrepreneurs just like yourself. Are you ready to evolve? Let's get started. Welcome to today's episode. I am joined by Derrick Kinney. He is encouraging everyone to rethink everything we know about money. He is the author of Good Money Revolution and as the CEO of Good Money Framework and the host of the most popular podcast, Good Money, he is really making an impact on the community. I love his story and what he shares. He's humble, he's honest, and you are going to grab so many wonderful bits of information from today's podcast and our interview. Derrick's been featured on CNBC, Fox News, CNN, Fox Business, PBS, Cheddar News, and he's really making that ripple effect happen around conversations of money and making money and the goodness behind it all. So enjoy today's listen, enjoy the interview, and I encourage you, as always, make sure you're clicking on the link below to schedule a breakthrough session to talk about the current growth obstacles, opportunities, and operational improvements you are making and need to make in your business. I am so here for you, entrepreneur. Keep evolving and enjoy today's listen. Good morning, Derrick. How are you?
Annette, it's great to see you. Thanks for having me today.
I am really happy you are here. Money is such a great topic, and we're going to have a great conversation today. So welcome to the show, Derrick Kinney, CEO of the Good Money Framework and host of the popular podcast, Good Money. I love it.
Thank you. It's a lot of fun.
So I really want you to start wherever you feel like your story is at a good entry point and walk us up to a little bit of a history about yourself and your company.
Sure. Yeah, let me take you to Boston, July of 2019.
Great.
So I am there in a hotel room at the W Hotel,
Okay.
and I have a sabbatical that I'm doing. So every year I go away for about 5 days, and I ask myself 3 questions. How do I be a better husband? How do I be a better father? And how can I be a better business owner?
Right.
And those 3 questions guide my entire time together. Now, this particular time, 2 years ago, was a real crunchy time for me because I was really faced with a major decision. And that is, I had built a financial planning practice over 25 years, had enjoyed it, but I really wasn't feeling as into it as I had been. And I sat there in that hotel room asking questions like, what do I want the next chapter of my life to really look like? And I realized being a financial advisor, while it was good and I enjoyed it, it wasn't bringing me the joy for the next phase of my life. And I called my wife, and to no surprise, as she told me later, she said, Derrick, I think it's probably best to sell the business. And that's what we began to put into motion that very day. So fast forward then to January of 2020. Now I'm on the cusp of selling my practice, writing a book, launching a podcast, and really wanting to go national with this message that I saw in culture that really bothered me, Annette. And the message was, if you have money or you're very successful, you're a bad person because you probably did something bad to get the money in the first place. And I realized growing up, and I see this in circles, not inside the circles where people are successful, because in those circles, they're encouraging, they want people to make money, but this was outside, people criticizing, kind of lobbying those rocks from outside saying, why am I not making money when they're making all the money? And so I set out on a path to say, let me help people not only learn that money is not bad, but that it's good and why you should make more of it, and then how you can do more good with it.
Great. And how did that come to you? Was it just kind of a reoccurring thought, or things just kept on bringing you back to it? Because this is powerful, right? This is something that was really speaking to you to the point where you completely pivoted everything.
Yeah, one of my clients asked me, Derrick, if you're going to have a midlife crisis, just buy a Corvette. It's a whole lot cheaper. And what I did is I went through this process. I called each one of my clients one by one to let them know of my decision. And some people were excited because they saw their advisor now living out what I had helped them do in their life. Some people cried. Some people got angry because they said, Derrick, you're not going to be here for us when we're going to be achieving our goals. And so it was a litany of emotions. But what I realized was that growing up, money was something that was very important to me. And I enjoyed making it. I enjoyed also giving it. And I began at an early age to recognize the more money that I could make and add value to other people, well, then the more good I could do in the causes that were important to me. And that's what added real meaning to my life. And it drove me to work, not just one full-time job, but a part-time job, even in school, to really make an impact. So when I laid my head on the pillow at night, it wasn't just, wow, I made all this money. It's I made money and I added value to people's lives, but I also helped cure some of the ails I saw in my local community that really fueled me to drive forward.
That's great. You made good. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. So, it's interesting. I'm thinking about our audience and a lot of the business owners out there, a lot of people that are leaders of their team. And I have a lot of wealth strategists and financial planners that listen, and some of which I coach, and they've thought about bringing in that generational shift in the business or stepping into the next point of their business. So can you talk a little bit about how that was for you, just from the psychology standpoint? You were there, you were ready, but was it challenging to do once you went through that, shifting the book of business and selling the book of business?
Yeah, it was a challenge because psychologically you realize, well, look, nobody can do this as well as I can, right? Or so you mistakenly think.
Right.
And then what happens is you begin to realize, for me to truly successfully sell this practice and position it well, I need to tell my clients with authenticity that I know somebody better than me who I am helping you not just hand off, but hand up. And I got to tell you, it was a deep feeling of humility that I went through. I would help people retire all the time, and they would tell me that their identities would shift. They would go from feeling wanted and needed and valued to suddenly now they're just erasing their business card and they're starting fresh again. And that's how I felt. I put my clients in a really good spot, but now I'm like, well, now who am I? What am I doing? Did I make the right decision? But the answer to all of those things was yes. And I realized that for me to do what I really wanted in my heart to do, and what I felt like were my talents were best going to be used, I would be doing my clients and my team a grave disservice if I hung around too long, because my expiration date was becoming evident. I wasn't into it anymore. I wasn't growing the business. And so I realized this is the time. And so many athletes I know and other business leaders wrestle with this, is they tend to leave the party too late when their jokes are already stale and old. I wanted to make sure I left at the right time. I'd rather have people thinking, boy, he left too early, than I wish he would have left a long time ago.
Right. Well, and thank you for sharing all of that, because a lot of people go through that. And it is, like you said, that identity crisis of, I feel that I'm not serving myself, my team, my clients as best I should be, but then what? right? What is the next chapter? And how will I re-identify myself? And all of those question marks on the other side of that. So congratulations to you. It's been such a journey over the past couple of years. So tell us what's on the other side. What's life and the business look like now?
Well, now it's all about reinventing. And, the skills that I took working with my team and leading them and walking alongside my clients, guiding them toward their goals,
Right.
I think are helping make me a better CEO now. And
Mhm.
one of the things that I realized when I began to write the book was, this was peak COVID time and people were hurting. They were hurting not just emotionally and psychologically, but even financially, questioning, what am I doing? Is this the right job for me? Am I getting fulfillment and meaning out of what I'm actually doing? And one of the things that was a core part of the book was this concept that I developed called the generosity purpose. And basically, what I found was that people could buy products and services from anybody. If they're a realtor, if they're a financial advisor, if they're selling computers,
Mhm.
they have unlimited choices. And it's really the person is the differentiator. But even deeper than that, Annette, is there a cause that they can tie their business to?
Yeah.
And early on, I thought back 25 years ago when I first began to be a financial advisor. I didn't realize this was happening, but I had a passion for education. I love supporting teachers and students at my alma mater. And I would give out like a $25 gift card to a student or a $50 gift card to the teacher. And to them, it was like they won the lottery. For me,
Right.
it was really nothing. But I began to get phone calls from prospective clients saying, hey, we hear you're real involved in education. We want you to manage our money. Well,
Mhm.
that was like a real eye-opening moment for me because I thought, why do they even factor that in? They typically should only worry about getting the most return for their money, biggest
Mhm.
bang for their buck. And we were doing that, but they said, Derrick, let me tell you something. We can work with any advisor out there. We're working with you because we think alike. We
Mhm.
both have a passion for education. And it taught me that's how I grew my business. But now, especially business owners today that are in this game of decommoditization, I
Right.
can't think of a better way than to pick a cause that you care about or that your customers or your clients care deeply about, because we know millennials, research tells us that they'll actually pay more money to
Mhm.
buy a product or service that aligns with their values. And so I know it's real. And we've done the research to know that, for example, when people watch a commercial on TV and
Mhm.
they see an ad for a car or a computer, well, their mind just processes it. But when they see an ad, for example, about the Olympics or helping solve hunger or poverty, the emotional reaction in the brain, it's like looking into the eyes of someone you love. I
Mhm.
mean, that is powerful. And
Right.
it tells me that if people want to stand out in business right now, having a generosity purpose that they attach to it is really going to be their secret sauce.
That's great. And I mean, you just covered so much. It's the compelling story, the connection, really that identifying purpose. So, do you share companies that are doing it well, or illustrate companies right now that are doing it well in the book, or in general?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously that there's a couple names that are very recognizable, for
Yeah.
example, Tom's shoes,
Mhm.
buy one pair, give a pair.
Mhm.
When I interviewed Damon John on my podcast, he was an early investor through Shark Tank in
Mhm.
a sock company called Bombas Socks.
Yes, know them
And
well.
they recognized that feet issues were a major problem for the homeless, and so they created socks where they would you buy a pair, give a pair. But I thought some people may look at those examples as well that only works for those really big companies, and I really want to dismiss and dispel that and just say, look, people on the local level, that's where most people make their buying decisions. And if
Right.
you can tell a compelling story, when I was a kid, there was this problem that I saw that I wanted to resolve, and here's
Mhm.
why it's important to me. And you tell that to your customers and your clients, they will become ambassadors for you
Mhm.
because they recognize, first of all, and you want to make sure you have to provide a quality service. I mean, just like we talked about the business you're in, you're providing value to people. And this is not about, hey, we just want to give money away and provide really bad service to people. The expectation is that you are the king and queen in your industry, that you deliver outstanding service. And just a way to even make the argument even more indefensible, hey, we're also going to give a part of this to help solve that problem that all of us care about. Why wouldn't I want to work with that business? Why wouldn't I want to refer them and brag and rave about them? And you know what? It's going to make you feel really good going to work on Monday, knowing that you're creating something bigger than just a business.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So talk about the process of writing a book.
Yeah. I mean, everybody says that we all have a book inside of us, but a book is interesting because, and I'll just be nitty gritty on this one, Annette. How good is a book if nobody buys the book? And so when you pull back and ask yourself that question, the goal is, if you want to impact people's lives with your time and energy in writing a book or a podcast, you need to have people that read it and listen to it. Or I would just question, how good of an author or a podcast host are you? Because ultimately change is about getting that book in people's hands where they can read it. So that's the game I'm playing right now. Our book, I've set a very lofty pre-order goal of 10,000 pre-orders for the book, because what I want to do is I want to create a movement where people think about money differently. And to do that, the author has to think about things differently as well. So that's how I think about it. But it's always about adding value to people. I mean, ultimately, a book is a book. There's thousands of them written and published every single year. I just really feel in my heart that the principles of this book can change people's lives, that they can actually use it to go make more money and do more good with it. And that can impact their family, themselves. It can impact their local community. So I feel good about having written a book where I feel like there's a topic that can actually make people's lives better.
Absolutely. And it's the ripple effect, right?
Yes.
So how does it feel being on the other side of things now? Looking back at your 3 years ago self and right now, obviously, the world has changed significantly and it will continue to change significantly. So how are you feeling now that you're on the different side of entrepreneurship?
I actually feel good. It's interesting because I think as an entrepreneur, you always second guess yourself. I see there's a graph that is out there periodically on social media, and it basically depicts, 8:00, I'm going to crush the world. 8:30, things are going straight to hell in a handbasket. 9:00,
right.
Things are great. And that's just in the course of a day.
Right.
And what I would tell people is, I do feel like your most valuable investment is you. And I don't say that to sound like a Hallmark card or to sound like a Successories poster, but when you really think about it, that's why so few people can take the entrepreneurial challenge and leave what is comfortable. They may not like it, but at least they know they're going to get that paycheck every 2 weeks. Few people can do that because they don't want to bet on themselves. And, a couple of lessons I learned that I think have helped me early on is we bought about 3 different financial planning practices prior to actually selling out of the business. And so I had gone through a lot of the highs and the lows and teetered on bankruptcy and had people violate legal agreements and had to move my entire office. And all of those things, I think, built up immunity for me to say, I know hard times are coming and I've responded to them in the past, and I can beat them again. And I think the more as an entrepreneur that you develop that thick skin and just anticipate adversity, it makes the other side, as you talked about, so much easier because listen, I know there's going to be adversity. I'm expecting it. I'm not wishing for it, but I'm anticipating this is just real life.
Right.
And I know that I've done it once and I can do it again. And that would be my encouragement to your listeners and your viewers, and that Look, even if you feel like you've been told you're not smart enough or strong enough or not able to do things, or you made some bad decisions in the past that really make you question, do you have what it takes? I would say you do.
Right.
And it's just a matter of continuing to bet on yourself and keep rebuilding up that risk tolerance again.
Right. Well, and I love that you just shared all of that and said all of that, because it's simply like conditioning that muscle and continuing to condition that muscle. And when you have gone through a downturn in the economy, a significant downturn in the economy, and you saw multiple clients with various different situations go through it in 08, when you've gotten a business through that, when you've gotten the business through COVID, when you've gotten the business through so many things, you're like, okay, well, what's next? We've got this, right? We've got this. We'll figure something out. Trust yourself, trust your team, trust the company you've built, trust your clients, trust it, right? But it definitely takes some conditioning for sure. So what keeps you going? Do you have a go-to phrase, a go-to mantra that when you do have those moments of doubt that you kind of snap yourself through it and out of it?
Well, my dad growing up, he was never the entrepreneur, but he was an encourager. And he would always say to me, Derrick, nothing ventured, nothing gained. And he would always marvel. He'd say, Derrick, how can you take the risks that you take? Because he always wanted to take them, but he couldn't quite get there. And so that phrase really helps me. But also I realized that I sold the practice with a purpose in mind, and that was to really help take this good money message on a more national scale.
Yeah.
And so that's what drives me. I mean, I feel like I want to make people's lives better. And I know the path to do that. And it's a long path, and it's not an easy overnight path.
Right.
But that's what drives me in that. I mean, that's what keeps me going, to say, as people review the book, for example, and say, this is a really good book. I like what you've written. That motivates me. That keeps me going another day to say, let's keep this message going into the world, because I do feel like if it's up to me, I have to make it be. I mean, I have a place here, and my role is important, and this message is very, very important to me to get out. And so if I don't do it, nobody else will. And so that's what motivates and really charges me every day.
That's great. I love the mission. I love the drive. I love your passion. I love your father's words of wisdom. It's very, very great. So where can we get our hands on the pre-order? Where can we find more out about you? Where can we follow you, support you? How can we help you?
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah. So we have a good presence on Instagram at Derrick T. Kinney.
Okay.
And part of that is I like to produce videos and content to help people today.
Good.
How can they make more money? How do we demyth some of the myths that are out there? But right now, the best way to get the book is at goodmoneyrevolutionbook.com, goodmoneyrevolutionbook.com. And we've actually put together a couple of free videos to provide some additional value to people that they can put into practice right away. Because one of the myths right now is, people are going to their boss and they're banging on the door saying, hey, give me a raise. That's not going to work. And you've got to find ways, and we teach this in the book, of how do you add more value to the business, help them increase their sales and grow their business and reduce costs, to then add more value to make your boss want to say, heck yes, I'm going to give you a raise because you've helped us make more money.
Right.
And if I can help people make that shift and then do more good with it. So yeah, Good Money Revolution book is the place right now to pre-order the book.
That's right. Absolutely. All right. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here today. You are wonderful. And I know that the book is going to be a tremendous success because of you and because of your purpose. So thank you for being here today.
Hey, my pleasure, Ned. I've enjoyed every part of the conversation. Thanks for having me.
All right. Talk to you soon. Thanks, Derrick.
Thank
you. Wow. What an episode. Did you learn something new? I hope so. I am so happy you were able to be here with us today. I'd love to hear from you. Leave me a review and I will be sure to read it and respond to you. Also, if you'd like to email me, my email address is yourock@ievolveconsulting.com. Hit subscribe, and every Tuesday you'll get notification when the next episode drops. We really have some amazing interviews and tips in the future. Anything you need, I'm here for you. I want you to keep your momentum. I want to help you stay accountable. I want you to stay inspired. I want you to evolve. So please let me know what you need, and I'd love to hear from you. Take care until next time.